When it comes to playing in the NBA, there are many ways to get your game to the next level, from solid defense skills to outside shooting and more. But one thing that a lot of people work on is their vertical jump, because the higher you can jump, the more likely you'll be making an impact in the league. And to that end, there have been some high jumpers in the history of the sport. Allow us to show you 10 of them. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 10, Shannon Brown, 44.5 inches. When you got hops so good that you impressed the late great Kobe Bryant, you know you're doing something well. While Shannon Brown may not have been the greatest player to ever play for the Lakers, he was key to their runs in the late 2000s decade where they won back-to-back titles, and Brown was a key factor for that. In fact, those 2 title runs were the best he played in his entire career. But just as important, he had a vertical that would allow him to not just jump high, but get up to where he needed to be in order to go and block shots, which he did a lot. Maybe the most ironic thing about him though is that while he did use his hops in the All-Star Weekend's dunk contest, he didn't make it out of the first round. Weird. Number 9, Zion Williamson, 45 inches. Easily one of the most talked about rookies in the history of the game, Zion Williamson made an impression instantly thanks to his games being shown on the internet. The hype he had when he went to Duke was insane and yet well-deserved as he was a dominant force on the court, due in part to his 45-inch vertical that helped him dunk all over the literal country, which people paid big money to see, especially now. What should be noted here is that his vertical wasn't natural, he had to work for it. When he did, he set the record at Duke for a vertical. Now he's a member of the New Orleans Pelicans and is aiming to have a big career where he cannot just play big, but jump big. Number 8, Spud Webb, 46 inches. When you think of the NBA as a whole, you think of one thing in particular, height. Yet when it came to Spud Webb, that's not what he had. In fact, he was the 3rd shortest player to ever play in the NBA. Yet he made a profound impact on the league for a very simple reason. He could jump nearly 4 feet high. Yes, this little man could elevate nearly 4 feet into the air and dunk the ball like it was nothing. Talk about insanity. Talk about defying the laws of physics and reality. Yet, he did it. But that isn't his true legacy. That would be winning the dunk contest against legend and fellow teammate Dominique Wilkins with 2 perfect 50-point dunks. We are not worthy of Spud Webb. Number 7, Derrick Jones Jr., 46 inches. The Miami Heat are a surprising force in the NBA in the current season and could be a big threat in the upcoming playoffs, mainly because their talent is undeniable, which brings us to Derrick Jones Jr., who has an astounding 46 inches of vertical leap. Jones Jr. used his leaping power to put on a literal highlight reel for people all over, including when he went to the 2020 dunk contest and won it. But there was controversy because of Heat legend Dwayne Wade. After all, he is a guy who likes to assist his own, you know? But either way you look at it, anyone who can jump 46 inches in the air is clearly doing something right, and the Heat will be wanting him to leap over the competition when the playoffs begin. Number 6, Zach LaVine, 46 inches. Zach LaVine is a guy who's been overshadowed in the past, but with his 46 inches of leaping ability, he most definitely deserves his own unique spot on this list. That height in the air that he has used to benefit many teams over his career, including the Timberwolves and the Chicago Bulls. But without a doubt, the reason that most people know Zach LaVine is because of his time in the dunk contest, which he won not once, but twice. In fact, his match against Aaron Gordon in one of those said dunk contests is believed to be the literal greatest one of all time, depending on who you ask, or at the very least would rival the one that the Michael Jordan was in. When you're compared to Jordan in any way, you're good. And with the way this kid can jump, oh yeah, he's good. Number 5, James White, 46 inches. A lot of guys like to jump this height, don't you think? James White is a tale of a man who could dunk, but little else. Don't get us wrong, 46 inches of vertical is impressive, but it can't be the only thing you're good at. White was more of a sizzle player known for his dunks and highlight reel leaps. He even got more popularity overseas than he was in the NBA. Number 4, Jason Richardson, 46.5 inches. Usually we'd ignore a half an inch, but in this case, why not? And when it comes to Jason Richardson, you better pay him respect because his abilities on the court were insane, including being labeled as the most athletic player in the NBA in the early 2000s. He was dominant on the Warriors and helped the Suns later on with various impressive plays. But easily his best accomplishment was winning the 2002 and 2003 dunk contests, the first player since Jordan to do it back-to-back. Dennis Smith Jr., 48 inches. Let's talk about the Knicks. Specifically, let's talk about Dennis Smith Jr., who is the league leader currently in vertical via being able to jump 48 inches into the air. Despite all that leaping talent, when he went to the dunk contest, he lost in the first round. Just goes to show that just because you can jump high doesn't mean that everything will come easy for you. Number 2, Daryl Griffith, 48 inches. A somewhat forgotten player of the 80s, Daryl Griffith was a legend in the Utah Jazz and was even Rookie of the Year in 1981. His play was defined by his leaping ability, so much he became Dr. Duncanstein and was part of a great 1-2 punch that led the Jazz to success in the league. The catch? Eventually, he got severe injuries that forced him to retire, but not before leaving his mark in his own way. Number 1, Michael Jordan, 48 inches. Enter the GOAT. Yes, Michael Jeffrey Jordan is tied for the greatest vertical ever, and we put him at the top because he's Jordan. There's a reason he was labeled Air Jordan, because he would soar through the air like it was nothing to him. He was the greatest, is the greatest, and as mentioned earlier, he won 2 dunk contests with those skills. Oh, also 6 rings and multiple MVP trophies. Did we forget to mention that? There you go, everyone. A look at the highest vertical jumps that have ever been officially recorded by the NBA. Were you shocked by who made this list? Were you shocked by who didn't make the list? Who is your favorite player among the ones listed? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.